Welcome back, everyone. This is Deathstroke9, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different than we normally do. So I've set up the camera so that this can work. All right. Hello, I'm here with the Delta Green Agent's Handbook, and we're going to be creating a character in Delta Green. We're going to make an agent. I'm pretty excited to do this. I've never done character creation in Delta Green before. So yeah, let me just start off by saying if you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel for lots more Delta Green and other tabletop role-playing game content. So technically bleed out the subscribe button, and yeah, let's just get into this. So first of all, this is going to be me making a character, but I also hope it's something where you can kind of follow along with me and look at the steps that it takes to make the character so that you yourself can create a Delta Green character as well. So what you would need is some percentile dice. Is this all of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, it is. Okay, good. And you need the character sheet printed out. Now, the Delta Green character sheet's really cool. It's got, like, let's see, restricted kind of, I don't know if you guys can necessarily see it. It looks almost like a government dossier or file. It's got like a little place where the authorizing officer needs to sign. There's a lot of really cool things going on with the character sheet itself. And then the other thing you would need is pencil. I use mechanical pencils because they're awesome, but you know, whatever works. Maybe a pen you could too, although you couldn't erase stuff. So yeah. Then you've got the Agent's Handbook. Now, in the Agent's Handbook, the main area that you're going to be looking at for creating a character is chapter... What chapter is this? The chapters are not numbered. I guess technically chapter 2, after overview. So chapter 2 is Agents. So let's open up Agents and take a look at what we need to do to make a character in Delta Green. So first of all, you've got, once Delta Green investigated the return of a lost child, it was not a happy reunion. Michael Lubson had died at Philadelphia Children's Hospital 10 years before, and now he had miraculously returned, no older and with no sign of illness. The agents were clever. Michael Lumsden was home after all these years. What was buried in his coffin? Answer, the rotted remains of a 10-year-old boy. So what was the thing that looked and acted like Michael Lumsden? Should the team put the child thing down like a rabid dog? Could they? Then there'd be the rest of the family. Were they infected by whatever influence pretending to bring Michael I'm sorry, I can't pronounce his name. Lumsden back to life? What power haunted the Lumsden home? Nobody looked for guidance from their superiors. Everyone knew the orders would be, take care of it. How could they live with themselves if they made the wrong call, or even the right one? What kind of person joins a group that has to make these types of decisions? You do. All right. So, the first thing about what makes an agent is composed of 5 key elements, all right? So, the core capabilities, the statistics, the derived attributes, profession, skills, and bonds. After that, you flesh out the character with backstory and stuff. Before you start, you might want to talk to the the handler about the particulars of the game. Might be set in 1980s, 1950s. High-level game choices are strictly up to the handler, so get the details before you create your agent. Since this agent that I'm creating is going to be for educational purposes, I guess, although I guess I could use it as well. I'm just going to say it's modern day, maybe 2020, 2010, somewhere in there. So let's just start this off. Now, this says we're going to go by what the book says to do, okay? And the book says step 1 is determine characteristics. Now, the way you determine characteristics is very similar to the way you do so in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. What you're going to do, and you might want to have a separate piece of paper or an index card for this. I luckily had one right over here. Convenient. All right. You want something to write down these numbers on. And you should talk to your handler about exactly how to do this, but this is how to do it by yourself if they've just kind of been like, all right. So the first one is roll stats or assign stats. I like to roll. So what we're going to do is you roll the 6-sided die 4 times, okay? And let's see if I might have more than one 6-sided die on me. Yeah, whatever. All right, so you roll it 4 times. and you're going to create a number. So you roll it 4 times, then take the 3 highest numbers and add them together, and that's number 1. All right, that's your first stat number. You're going to roll the 4 dice and drop the lowest one, add the 3 highest up 6 times. Then you'll have 6 numbers. Then you assign those numbers to the statistics strength, constitution, dexterity, intelligence, power, and charisma, abbreviated to STR, CON, DEX, INT, POW, and CHA. So here we go. Number 1, 5, 6, 6. Okay. Wow. 666. That's an 18. And also a curse. So that's kind of unnormal, but let's see what else happens. That's our first number is 18. That's very lucky that I got an 18. 2, 1, here we go. 3, 6. So 6, 2, and 3 get added up. The 1 is dropped. So 6, 2, and 3 come out to 12. Right? Is that right? Is that 12? 6, 2, 3. No, it does not. That is 11. Whoops. All right, so now we've got 18 and 11. We need 6 total numbers. 5, 3, 3, 6. Okay. 6 and 5 is 11. Then one of the 3s would make 14. We're halfway done now. We've got 18, 11, and 14. So you can see what I'm doing. All right. Don't worry, the fun stuff comes soon. 3, 6, 3, 5. All right, 5 and 6 is 11, plus another 3 is another 14. Convenient. So I believe the average... They range from 3, the worst, to 18, the best, with an average of 10 for an ordinary adult. So far, every single one of these statistics is over average, which is pretty nice. All are important, so we'll see what happens now. We've still got 2 numbers to go through. 3, 1, it's a 5, and 3. So 5, 3, and 3 is 11. 2 11s, that's not great. Last number. 2, 3, 2, 4. All right, 4, 3, 2, that's 9. All right, so we've got 1 bad egg and 1 insanely good roll. Now, before you start to do all this, you might want to come up with a bit of an idea of what your character is going to be. You want to know what type of agent you want to play. Now, for this case, I want to make a literal agent. I'm thinking something like like Men in Black type inspired character. I want to make a literal CIA agent with the dark sunglasses, the suit, the whole 9 yards, all right? So... for example, that would mean that I would want high intelligence and maybe strength or power, willpower. All right, I'm going to think my guy is a little bit, let me think about this. He's probably the smart one. He might not be exactly the brawn of the operation. He might be someone who's like in the background, like, kind of on a computer, kind of setting the entire operation up, maybe making all the plans and stuff. That's what I'm picturing my guy to be. So, I've got these stats. Now, charisma might be important for this, but I'm going to start with intelligence and put my 18 right in there. So you take these numbers and you're going to put them in the little box over here, all right? So you see where it says score. I'm going to put in my 18 in intelligence. I'm going to go over here, cross the 18 off the thing so that I know I've used it. Next, I'm going to do my 2 14s. I want high power, and I want high charisma. I'm going to put 14 into both of those, cross them off. Now my 2 11s. I'm going to have an okay strength and okay dexterity. Cross those off. Now I've just got a 9 that's going to go in my constitution. I'm not the healthiest guy. Now, there's this little thing right here that's x5. You're going to multiply each of these numbers by 5. So the 11s get a 55. This is the percent chance of success, 55. You might want to put a little percentage sign next to each one. 9 is 45%. It's my worst. The 14s are, let me think, 70. And the 18 is 90. Wow. All right. So now you've got your percentages. Let me show you. Let me try to move this a little bit closer to the screen just in case you couldn't see it up till this point. Alrighty. So now you've got your scores filled in and the percentages. Now, this is a little bit fun. So now you look at what is your highest and your lowest score. I do the highest and the lowest. You can do as many as you want. I'm going to look at, first, my constitution is a 9. What does that mean for my character? And right over here, you see distinguishing features. So you're going to write down something that kind of physically shows what this low stat or this extremely high stat. How does this statistic manifest in your character? It could be something super simple, like for strength, you just write distinguishing features are strong or muscular. Or it could be, I'm going to try to make this a little bit more specific. Score of 9, we're going to say that my character has maybe some type of disease, maybe some type of wasting disease. Let me think. We're just going to write that for now. Wasting disease. He's wasting away. He is not in perfect condition. He has pretty bad health. He coughs up blood a lot. He's getting older quicker than he really should. Just he's not very healthy. And it's an inherent biological thing. It's not necessarily his own fault. There might be some things he could do to stop it that he doesn't, but that's his problem. Next is my intelligence is excessively high. So we're going to say that how is this manifested in my character? I can read situations well. Hopefully I can actually do that. You know what I mean? So, write down read situations well. What that would mean for my character is, okay, my character can go in any situation and probably is going to be able to figure out some type of plan. It might be a bad plan, but he can come up with a plan on the spot, and he often goes with his gut and is right. Now, technically, my power and charisma are both also a little bit above average. I'm going to put with charisma, good with people. And I'm going to leave the other ones blank. You can fill them all in, fill them out however you want to. And now we've finished with the base statistics. Okay. Good job, guys. We're making it through the boring stuff first. All right. So now we've got our statistics. We kind of have an idea of what type of character we're trying to play. And we have down he's got some type of wasting disease. He can read situations well, and he's pretty good with people. Specifically, when I think of good with people, I think that he can understand people. So he can talk to someone and help them in different ways, right? Or he knows how to motivate people. Next, it says we need to calculate derived attributes. What are the derived attributes? This is step 2. The hit points, the willpower points, sanity points, and breaking points are derived from stats. They represent physical and mental resilience. When your agent is hurt, exercises mental fortitude, or is traumatized, these scores can drop. It says go to detailed description, derived attributes on page 18. We're on page 15. So, flip over here. Here's page 18. Now, let me see if I can move my mic over a little bit. All right. The derived statistics. Here we have hit points, willpower points, sanity, and breaking point. Now, hit points and sanity are straightforward. I'm not going to read their text block. I will, however, kind of talk about willpower points and the breaking point. So we're going to go through this one by one. First, hit points equal strength. And remember, when it says the score, it means the actual score, not the percentage number that you've wrote down, okay? So when it says your hit points equal strength plus constitution divided by 2 and rounded up, you look at your strength, it's 11, plus constitution is 9, okay? So that is a 20 divided by 2, rounded up. My hit points are going to start at 10. It's pretty good. Now you go over here. Right down in here, you put 10. All right. My maximum is 10. My current is also 10. Next is willpower points. Now let me read this little text block. Willpower points represent mental fortitude. They fall when your agent attempts to suppress the symptoms of mental illness. See Resisting Insanity on page 73 if you want to learn more about that. You can pause the video and go check it out. Becomes exhausted. You can see exhaustion on page 47. Attempts to resist persuasion, interrogation, page 168. Suffers emotional burnout or tries to fuel unnatural phenomenon. At 2 willpower points, your agent has a temporary emotional collapse. At 0 willpower points, your agent falls unconscious. Willpower points are regained with rest. Now, here's how I like to explain willpower points. They're basically the magic points of Call of Cthulhu, only you can do more with them. So in Call of Cthulhu, magic points are kind of put in with power. They go hand in hand with the way power works. And this kind of takes that to the next level. So in Call of Cthulhu, they insinuate that the more willpower and mental fortitude you have, the better you can power your spells or focus your spells. This is the same thing is true with Delta Green, only they take it a step further and say, all right, you can use willpower points to fuel spells. In Delta Green, they're called rituals. Or you could also use it to regain sanity. Or you can resist persuasion with it. There are multiple different things you can use willpower points for. Now, your willpower points are equal to your power score. My power is 14, so over in willpower points, my maximum is 14. My current is also 14, all right? Next is sanity points, very straightforward. That is equal to your power times 5. Now, you might just go to look at your power and try to multiply it by 5, or you can just look at the percentage that you put in, which is 70%, which means I'm getting 70 sanity points. And my current is sanity and my maximum. My current is 70, maximum is also 70. Now the breaking point. The breaking point is the exact point at which loss of sanity will trigger a long-term mental disorder. An agent's breaking point equals starting sanity minus power. Okay? So at the breaking point, it has maximum and current over here, but those don't really apply to breaking point, so you just write breaking point. I write it in current. You can write it in maximum, wherever you want it to go. For me, it's 70 minus power. So 70 minus 14, 60, 56. All right. So if my current sanity ever goes down to 56, I'll circle it so that I know it's the breaking point. It'll just help me, a little visual cue to help me as a player. So let's see. Can you see that? Yeah, I think you can. Okay. So now you've got 70 sanity. If you ever go down to 56, you've hit your breaking point. Alrighty, we're making progress, guys. All right. Now, what is next? Those are the derived attributes. So here you've got a physical description area. I'm just going to fill that out. Let me think. My guy is, wears dark sunglasses. Which is funny because he's often not actually out in the sun. He is pale and very thin. Extremely thin. This will help you describe your character when they're introduced. Thin due to wasting disease. Due to sickness. All right. What else could I write? Dark hair, black hair, jet black hair. That's as much as I can fill out more details of that at another time. You want to keep this simple, right, guys? When you go to make a character, try to keep it as simple as you can. So now, let me just get rid of this. We don't need it anymore. We move on to whatever the next step is. And this says you need to select a profession and skills. What does your agent do for a living? So we go to page 20 in the agent's handbook. Now, page 20 is an even number, so it's going to be over here. 18, 19, 20. Here we go. Detailed descriptions of professions. I'm going to move this over here. A profession says a lot about an agent. It grants a kit of appropriate skills. There's a whole list of professions. Then you're going to get bonus skill points. But first, let's go with our normal skill points. Let me look for something that makes sense. Program manager, I think, might be what I end up going with. Or intelligence analysis. We're going to go with program manager. I'm trying to run the organization. I secure funding, move resources, make connections, and I control a budget and are responsible for how the program is maintained, where the money goes. Organizations discover the most startling things in their pursuit of profit or the public good. Let me think of exactly how this works. I personally feel as though my job includes a little bit more than just what this says. I think that I also will work in the field if Delta Green requires it. And I'm just going to add that in my head. I'm just going to remember that so that I can keep it in mind. Now, let's go through here. So the way these professions work is you get a name, a block of text talking about it, recommended stats that you want to be high. For me, it's charisma and intelligence, both of which are some of my highest stats. Next, you look at the professional skills and attach these percentages to them. Let me see if I can show it closer. I hope you guys can see. Yeah, whatever. So basically, you look at the skills. It says it's under professional skills, and we look at it and we see that mine says accounting 60%. Then you cross-reference this with your character sheet. Down here, it says accounting. It's one of the very first things. And you're going to write 60% in this box. Now, here's something interesting that you definitely need to pay attention to. Do not add it to the base number, okay? If you're used to Call of Cthulhu, you'll remember adding numbers to the base number. There will be time for that, but right now, whatever you're putting in with professional skills replaces this opening percentage. So 60% accounting is not added to the 10% already in there. It replaces it. So now we have 60%. Okay? Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments so that I would be happy to answer or help anybody who's still looking for assistance in creating a Delta Green agent. So first we look at accounting, put it 60. Next is bureaucracy. We're going to put 60 into that as well. Next is computer science. We want that to be 50%. That's very good. Criminology at 30%. All right, fill that in. Foreign language, choose one at 50%. Now we go over to here and we look at the foreign languages. What would be a good language for my character to know? I think that my character often will is something of a translator. So let's think about a lot of times, a lot of ancient texts, occultic texts are likely in Latin, maybe Greek, Arabic. What do you think? We're going to go with Latin. No, we're going to... Never mind, I'm going to go with Arabic so that I can hopefully translate the Necronomicon if I ever come across it. Although Obviously, my agent wouldn't know that, so it's a bit of metagaming. So I guess instead I'll say I'm learning Arabic because I often work with operations in the Middle East. My foreign language starts at 50%, which means that I can speak the language fluently, I believe. Next is history at 40%. History's over here. Place that 10% with 40%. We go to law. Law starts at 40% as well. That's good. I need that knowledge. And persuade is going to start at 50%. Then I choose one. Anthropology, art, craft, or science. Let me check what anthropology means. And this will be a good time to show you guys how to check what any skill means. What you do is you go to page 28 and you can find a detailed description of every skill. We're going to look at anthropology. I find that on page 30. The study of living human cultures. You use it to understand morals, religious beliefs, customs, and more. That's wrong, and more. And to identify, but not translate, obscure languages. History is about the distant past. Archaeology studies physical remains. Anthropology is about the behaviors of living creatures and how they relate to each other in the past. I think that would likely be the best for my character that I've created so far, who understands people. So I'm going to go to anthropology and put 30% in that. So now we've got a list of some skills, right? And now we have, and also it says I get 4 bonds. We're going to come back to bonds. And because of that, I want to put down what the bonds are right over here. So we're just going to write down, number it. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's under bonds over here. We're still on the first page of the character sheet. I number it so that I know how many I get. All right, we'll come back to bonds. So now to finish our profession, we look at the bonus skill points. And this is a little bit different as well. Let me bring that index card back over here. What you want to do is you want to put down some type of little note, all right? So you have 8, all right? Put down a little 8. Number 8. Why we're doing this is because you're about to get 8 sets of 20 plus 20s, all right? So 8 plus 20s, and you're going to be able to add them wherever you want them. You can stack them on top of each other. But it can't ever go over 80% unless the handler says otherwise. So let me show you what I mean. Every time we put a 20 in, I'm going to put a little tally mark, and we're going to go till we reach 8, all right? Let me make a bigger 8 for you. There we go. All right. Now, as I've said, I want my character... And oh wait, before I continue, there's one other big important thing to notice. This is where you get to add it to the base amount. If you put one of these sets of 20 into any skill that doesn't already have points in it, you add it to the base amount. All right? So, I'm going to put my first 20, make my first tally mark, into Persuade. I want my Persuade to be a 70 to make it more powerful. All right, I'm going to add it to what's already in there, which is 50%. Now it's at 70%. That's my first 20, all right? Now I'm going to put in another 20. I'm going to take 20, put it into unarmed combat, all right? That already starts at 40%. I'm raising it to 60%. I'm actually going to put 2 points into that, which is going to make it a total of 80. I'm going to stack it and make it as high as it can possibly go. Now I've got 80 points in unarmed combat, so my guy can fight if he needs to. Let me think. What else could he have? Criminology I want to go up. So I'm going to take another one of my 20s. I get 8 of them, remember. I'm going to put... I'm actually going to take 2 more and put it into Criminology to bump it up by 40%. So 2 20s. It was at 30, goes up by 40, now we're at 70. I've got 3 20s left. I'm going to assign them to some that could use any type of bumping. So, first aid, I think my guy is good at trying to help people because he personally has a sickness that he constantly has to keep in check. So I'm going to take one of those 20s, put it in the first aid. I'm going to add it to the 10% base number to turn it into a 30. All right, so now it's at 30 instead of 10. I added 120 to it. Going to take my next two and put them into occult. I feel like occult is always something good to have. Bringing it up to 50% in total. All right. Now, something to note, if you're playing with a group, if you have a group of agents that you want to play with, you probably want to check with them beforehand. All right. You want to talk to them and understand each other's, professions, right? And you should work with your handler. Maybe he's the middleman between this type of interaction. Maybe he doesn't want players to know too much about each other before the session starts. Or he or she, sorry. But the idea is you want to make sure that you're not like putting 80% into a cult and someone else also has 80% in a cult, and now you've just got a problem because you've wasted a lot of points because, someone else is already filling that up in the team. So now we've finished the skills. Good job, guys. We're moving along. Anytime you use a skill and fail, you put a little check mark next. So these little check boxes, you'll check it off if you use a skill and fail. The way you roll for skills, just in case you don't know, is you take the two 10-sided die, all right? For me, I've got one that has the 0 through 9, and the other one is 0 through 9. Roll them together. We're going to roll for accounting, okay? Let's say I'm trying to... you know what? Never mind. We're going to roll for Arabic. Let's say I'm trying to translate the Necronomicon, okay? And it's in some strange, weird form or dialect of Arabic, and now I've got to roll for it. See if I understand it. If you look at this, I got a 20... and a 6. 26%. You're trying to get under whatever you had. So over here I've got a 50% in Arabic, and I rolled 26. What does that mean? I have succeeded. I succeeded at the roll, and that means that I likely do translate whatever it was I was trying to translate. The handler kind of determines what success means in game. Moving back to the Agent's Handbook, step 15, page 15, you see that step 4 is bonds. That is the next thing we're going to go over, is the bonds of this character. Now, bonds are going to indicate the strength of relationships with the most important people in your agent's life. This thing in Delta Green is extremely interesting to me. I love this concept. So now we're going to turn to page 36. Turn to page 36 with me. Pause the video if you need to. To detailed description of bonds. Here's page 36. Detailed description, bonds. Bonds measure your agent's relationships with the vital people in his or her life. Loved ones, family members, and close friends. A bond can protect your agent from sanity loss, or offer a chance to repress the effects of a disorder or temporary insanity. Bonds are not merely motivations or things your agent likes, they are your agent's connection to humanity. An agent with no bonds is more susceptible to psychological trauma than one who has people waiting back home. Your agent's profession determines how many bonds your agent begins with. The more trying and time-consuming the profession, the fewer bonds your agent is able to maintain. Each bond begins with a score equal to your agent's charisma. Bond scores often deteriorate because of your agent's involvement in Delta Green itself. A bond increases if it's cultivated between operations, and a bond can never have a score higher than your agent's charisma. Anytime your charisma score drops, each bond drops by the same amount. What you do is you need to identify each bond. And some examples are a spouse or ex-spouse, son or daughter, parent or grandparent, best friend, coworker or partner, psychologist or therapist, spouse and children, parents, siblings, colleagues in an intense group, church or support group, survivors of a shared trauma. All right? Those are some examples of what you would do. You would want to make each one specific and catered to you. So, for example, here, I'm going to say my first bond is with my boss. I'm going to come up with I might work with the handler on this normally, but you would talk to your handler about this, but I'm going to write down a name. Rupert, my boss. I'm just going to put a little comma and write boss. All right, he's the guy one step above me, and we have a good relationship with each other. He helps me, and he's actually covered for me a couple times. And as you can see, you're trying to create a character, right? So you want to make up some storylines to go with the character. For example, Rupert, the boss, who has helped me in some situations. It would make it much more devastating if if the handler decides to use Rupert and make him betray me or something. My second bond is one of the things that keeps my character going, that keeps this guy, I don't know what his name is going to be yet, keeps him going is his Bible studies, okay? He's a devout Christian. So his church group, we're going to call it, I remember I once went to a church called His Hands Church, so that's what I'm going to write. Shout out to His Hands Church. Very cool, inclusive church. His Hands Church. Okay. I'm just going to put a comma there, His Hands, and then the name of the thing is a church. So I have a good relationship with my church. I go every Sunday, and I've given sometimes to support their missionary work or whatever. And yeah, my guy's a pretty nice guy. That's another thing. A lot of times the best characters are the ones that can be corrupted, who start very, simple. Sometimes, though, and this is more for more advanced players, but once you play it a couple of times, you can start to add things which are pretty crazy. Make plot twists, and you always have to work with your handler on this, and some handlers might not agree with it, but me personally, I love it. For example, a great example, and if you haven't seen it already, I highly recommend you go watch it. It was one of my favorite sessions I've ever done. I'm going to put maybe a card to it up over here. There we go. Okay, so the idea is we played Delta Green a while ago. As I'm recording this, it was yesterday, but whenever we played Delta Green for the first time, and one of my players played a character named Creed. Now, Creed, he came up with the idea that Creed has a family. He has a wife and kids. And then he was like, but Creed's really old, or he might, forget his kids' names or keeps changing them or something. And then he was like, wait a minute, what if he had some type of disorder? What if he had some type of mental problem where he actually was hallucinating his family? And so, now he has, and this is a bit of a spoiler, but there's a lot of other things going on. So anyway, now he has this mental disorder, and the other agents don't know about it. So he tells them about his family, and then only later is it revealed that his family is just a product of his mind. And not even his employers know that his bonds actually don't exist. This could create some very interesting story elements, so I just recommend that you, after maybe playing once or twice, you could work with your handler to create even more dark, disturbing, interesting, or crazy characters. Anyway, this is a bit of a tangent. Let's continue. Number 3, my third bond, I'm going to say is my best friend, who also might be a love interest for my character. We're going to say, let me think. Never mind. We're going to do a David, not a love interest, a best friend. David, best friend. F-R-I-E. Okay. So yeah, now we've got a character, and we're going to say, what is something that David does? Maybe David's just a person that my guy just hangs out with a lot of times. It could be maybe one of my problems maybe is my character might be like a bit of an alcoholic. One of the reasons his disease keeps getting worse. Maybe this is his drinking buddy. They go to the pub and just kind of talk it over some cold ones or whatnot. And then finally, I'm gonna say I have a therapist whose name could be Sarah. Say R-H. This Sarah. This can be my therapist. One of the reasons my intelligence and my power are still so high is because I have put a great amount of stock in going to church, having a therapist, really working on my mental health and my will to live, right? I've definitely have a very high will, right? I've definitely worked on my mental health. I know I have some type of issues, and I try to fix them all the time. All right, that's what we've got so far. What would be next? Now we go back to pay. So those are the bonds. Next to each one, you write down the score, which is equal to your charisma, as we said earlier. So each of my bonds starts at 14 because my charisma is also 14. Just in case you didn't get to see it. There you go. All right. Next, we add the final details, and that means basically fill out anything you didn't already. Let me read the finishing up section because it is actually pretty important. So here we go. Don't try to make the perfect agent. Engage with your agent as a character, not as a tool to win the game. Flesh out some details and make the agent engaging, and write the following notes on the character sheet. So we're just going to go through, starting with the personal data. Last name, first name, and code name. Last name could be Evergreen. Never met anyone whose last name was Evergreen before. First name could be Samuel. And his code name could be... His name is Evergreen, so... Code name, gonna put the code name in parentheses. Trying to think of a tree name now. I'm just gonna put Christmas tree. I guess I could kind of. It's kind of funny. People call him Christmas tree. That's kind of funny. Okay. My profession, I am the manager for. I think I'm for Delta Green. We're gonna say I've been working with Delta Green for a while now. Nationality, I live in the US of A. My employer, I'm going to say I work full-time at Delta Green. I might not know their name. We're going to say I work for the program. The program. There we go. Sex, we've got female, male, and other. Okay, then. We're just going to do male. Age and date of birth. I am... Age. I'm going to be 25 years old, and date of birth would be September 29th. All right. Next would be education and occupational history. So for education, it says on in the book on page 37, most Delta Green agents either have college or advanced degrees, and if they don't, they have learned something from somewhere. You know, they're self-taught somehow. In this case, we're going to say that my guy went to Harvard. And he became he went there and studied law, and he became a judge, but then was recruited for his people skills and his good managing. He's been a manager before as well. But he went to Harvard, studied law. Became a judge. All right. Now you'll notice this character sheet's pretty frugal, and it allows you to have it gives you a lot of room to kind of build your character and kind of, it gives you room to work in game. So next would be motivations and mental disorders, down over here. My motivations is my belief in God. I believe in God and higher destiny. I believe I have a purpose in this world. Okay, so I just wrote down I believe in God and a higher destiny. Whoops. Belief. Sorry for my bad spelling. Belief in God and higher destiny. And what else? What else motivates me? I also believe humanity to be like inherently good. Humanity is worth fighting for. That's what I'm going to write. My mind might be changed. I'm thinking about this like a handler as I'm making a character as a player. Dang it. Alright, next over here we have wounds and ailments and under injuries. I'm going to write down my wasting disease. I'm going to write in parentheses coughs a lot. This is in 2020. He's getting a lot of weird looks. Armor and gear. I probably have none. So here's something about the armor and gear section. The actual Delta Green book does not really... the way Delta Green works, it kind of assumes that you would have anything that your character would likely have, okay? So instead of giving you like a package filled with all of the different things you would have, you just kind of work with the handler to say in set game, all right, if I'm a judge or if I used to be a judge, I might have a little gavel or hammer on me, right? If I'm a manager, I probably have a laptop. So that's just kind of how that works. And for weapons, you just kind of work with the handler on that. If you are law enforcement, you very likely will have a weapon, and you work with the handler on that. I am not, and I put points into unarmed combat specifically, so yeah, I'm good at throwing punches, not much else. So I'm going to leave most of these out of the way and just move on to personal details and notes. So let's think about this. Now it says, write down something that you admire about the agent. My agent likes to help other people. Okay, he likes to feel like he's a good person. He wants to know that he's a good person. That's something that motivates him. So he helps people. So as I said, he's like given to charities at the church. He'll promote people if they do good work. He tries to be fair and equal at his job. He just generally he's just generally a good person. The main reason for that is he wants to believe he is truly a good person. Something that I dislike about this agent. He drinks too much. Not only does he drink too much, with drinking buddy. Let me just bring my friend in here. Drinking buddy David. Not only does he drink too much, he also kind of rationalizes it. He doesn't just accept it and just say, all right, it's okay. I'm just going to have this, once in a while. He kind of is like, he'll tell other people, no, he doesn't. And he'll always be like, he'll like judge other people for drinking because he's like he's very religious, right? But then he actually, this is his like secret vice. So it's worse than just, oh, he drinks too much. Then it asks me to write down why exactly does Delta Green trust my agent to confront unnatural threats and keep them secret. One case I worked on as a judge included the unnatural. I will work with my handler on this. Probably will call them or text them or talk to them through Discord, whatever. Try to, work with them on what the details of this case was. One case as a judge. Messed me up. It included the unnatural. There we go. All right, so that's why they trust me, is they kind of brought me in to it. This kind of works both ways. I saw the true evil, and I kind of accepted it pretty quickly because I already believed in demons and stuff, and I was just like, okay, this is just another satanic incursion on the world. I probably do not understand the true portents of what this stuff means, and Delta Green probably didn't tell me. So those are the reasons they believe that I truly can keep a lid on it because I don't really know what's going on still, and I will keep a lid on it because they told me to, and I trust them. Finally, now I just signed my agent's name down here. My agent's name is Samuel Evergreen. So, yeah. Let's put Samuel. And the authorizing officer probably would work with the keeper on that as well, or the handler as well. For here, just going to put my own name, Daniel. All right. I'm also going to put code name Deathstroke 9. I'm going to just code name Deathstroke. And now, you take a step back and you admire your handiwork. You have a fully fledged Delta Green character. Good job, guys. We did it together. Now I've got Samuel Evergreen. He's a judge who lives in the USA, who's currently working as a manager for Delta Green. He has wasting disease, but he reads situations well and is really good with people, which is why Delta Green kind of allowed him to join their group. He has very, very high intelligence, very high IQ, but he believes in God and higher destiny, and he believes humanity is worth saving. He knows Arabic. He likes to help people, but he also drinks too much. And he has a very good relationship with Rupert, his boss, His Hands Church, David, his best drinking friend, and Sarah, his therapist. All right, that's a lot of stuff that you can use as a agent and a lot of stuff your handler can use in the story itself. I might actually use this if anyone ever runs Delta Green for me. And yeah, Delta Green is rapidly becoming... I don't know. I really, really enjoy this game. It's really cool, very well put together. And I like the streamlined rules system. Like, look at this. We just created a whole character. How long has it been? 54 minutes. Okay, so this video's gone on for 54 minutes. I obviously introduced myself a little bit at the beginning. And I did this, like, I didn't really think about this beforehand. I didn't make up a character beforehand or anything. It kind of, as I was filling in the stats, it kind of flowed from me, right? Which is really cool how in little less than an hour, we were able to create a fully fledged character. You know how long it takes me to create a character in Dungeons and Dragons? Like 3 hours, right? And then when a handler creates pre-gens, then it gets even simpler. So, yeah, there we go. We now have a fully fleshed out character in Delta Green. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. And yeah, let me know if you like this type of video. I might do character creation for RuneQuest, for for Call of Cthulhu, maybe for Dungeons and Dragons as well. Any games I have, because it's interesting, because it's both me showing you, it's both me like creating a character in a system you might like and showing you how I do it, but it's also could be a way, it's a bit of an educational spin to it, because I'm trying to show you how to do it too. As you can see, we've got all these stats filled out. I hope you can see all this. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for joining me for this. Let me know what else you want to see in the comments down below. And yeah, that's about it. That's all I've got for you. Deathstroke 9 out. See you guys very soon. And yeah.